Yeah. Hello, it's 12 p.m. Welcome back to Mindset Explosion season number 5, Paul. Paul's back for a second time. Oh my gosh, you must be crazy. It's episode 13 as well.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me back again.
You're welcome, buddy. As we were just saying off there, we've got to put that perception out that we are just crazy busy doing stuff all the time. I'm joking.
Yeah. I'd like to hope it was just a perception, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So today we're talking about engineering our business growth. I just had a thing. We're having trouble posting to LinkedIn. Okay, never mind. We'll see that. I'll sort that one out later. Pause if it doesn't go on with.
Yeah, no worries.
I can post it out. Oh, where do we get to? So today I'm joined by special guest Paul Holmes. And so if you are listening on the podcast, as always, 5-star review, please. It doesn't hurt. You just got to press this little star on the, make sure it's 5, obviously. Put some comments, have a few likes and shares. And if you have any questions today about anything we're talking about when you're watching online, then just jump them in and we can answer as and when. We might even post it up on the screen so everyone can see your name. That might be weird, but anyway, you get the idea. All right, in the second, I'm going to get Paul to introduce himself very briefly, and then we're going to have find out where he sits on things like podcast audio, how we're learning, mentorship, that kind of thing. So welcome back, Paul. It's your second slot here. In fact, this will be our third. Yeah.
I got to interview you the last time.
You did me last time, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit for the viewers, listeners, what you do.
Okay, so my name is Paul Holmes. I run a business growth consultancy that has recently changed name. So it was PCH Business Support. It is now PCH Business Consultants. Last year, a dawning realization that I spend most of my time helping overwhelmed business owners in large organizations to spend a lot less time working on the business, working in the business, not doing stupid hours, and decided I had to follow my own my own medicine. So I now have around 30 associates who are specialists and experts who support the brand. So we've moved it to a consultancy to sort of give me hopefully a little bit more time back in my world to focus and work on my own business, not just everybody else's.
Brilliant, I love it. And I guess that's probably a bit of key today about the importance of working on the business and not in it. I really love that.
Yeah, it's critical. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Otherwise, you'll end up like this. So, Paul, obviously, you got the idea way before I did, because I was working in my business for ages because I thought that's what you had to do. What did I?
Yeah, I spent 30 years in sort of corporate life, and working in the business was all I ever knew. And it was only at the point where I started to move into slightly more strategic roles that started to dawn on me that just working hard wasn't going to get you where I need to get to. And I kind of fall into the trap, made all the same mistakes. 30 years of FTSE 100 corporate life. I thought I knew about how to run a business. And then I started to run my own business and realized actually it's bloody hard work. Made all the mistakes. I've learned the hard way, so hopefully now means I've got enough of the scars to be able to help people and say, actually, this is what's going to happen. This is how you are going to have to accept that business needs to be operated. And it's been fun.
Brilliant. And both from an engineering background, which is interesting.
Yeah, started out in manufacturing electronics. So I'm a manufacturing engineer by training. So I moved into capital projects, building production lines. And then about 20 years ago, I was asked by Johnson Matthey to help build the hydrogen fuel cell plant in HQ in Swindon, which is part of the reason why I ended up in Swindon and Wiltshire in the first place. And worked for them for Johnson Matthey for about 15 years. Ran Innovate UK funding programs, multi-million pound installations, working with automotive manufacturers all over the world, buying kit, setting up production lines. It was great fun. Built school. So I founded a school as part of that, as an engineering college. Then a brief period as director of investment for the local authority, running inward investment, business engagement, behind the scenes in terms of how does business really work at local authority level. And then 6 years ago, council consolidated everything. I was an external consultant at senior director level, and I said, I'm not going inside the council. I was quite happy with a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Set up my own consultancy, and I've really focused mainly on sort of very large organisations, sort of the 1 to sort of 10 million pounds sort of range for most businesses, but work very closely a lot with the various growth hubs and business organisations for the last few years, which has been, particularly during COVID, has been a nice sort of outlet for the business. But also I've worked with probably 400 businesses in the last sort of 2 years, helping them get through and respond to what's gone on in the last 2 years. It's been fun.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, we nearly missed this little quick fire round, which isn't a quick fire round because we generally end up speaking about stuff. But what do you prefer, Paul? Is it podcast or YouTube? And if out of any of those, which one?
Podcasts, I don't have a regular one. So I'm a huge fanatic of business books. So I have probably, I don't know, maybe 100 business books, and I probably have an audible business playlist of probably 30 books that are now primed, ready for me to listen to. Lots of stuff around sort of mindset, lots of stuff that continues to challenge me. So I'm a firm believer in that you never stop learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So a huge amount of what I do came from the book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The idea that sort of you set the outcome and work backwards from it. That's become sort of the model that PCH particularly works around. But there's a whole host of books that I sort of use and sort of reference and help support. Last year, I discovered a concept called the 3 principles, which is all about sort of mind, thought, and consciousness, which has again really, really helped to sort of step back and sort of really understand what's going on inside your business and the mindset to be in the right place to be able to sort of really focus on the business at the same time.
Cool. We're going to come on to mindset within business later on, so I'm glad you kind of dropped that one in. Well, you've just answered 2 questions in one, so thank you. So you reckon best one for now as I guess book or audio is the E-Myth as the top.
Well, the E-Myth is right. Yeah. The E-Myth is the book that I regularly, when I'm working with somebody, I want to sort of change the way they think about the business.
Yeah. Go
and read the book. Yeah. It's in some respects, it's a business 101. But it starts to show you that actually there's a different way to think about the way you run your business. And that's the bit that sometimes is enough. Then just it's that little crack for me to then get into and say, right, let's do some stuff to your head now in terms of how we think about your business.
Brilliant.
Start there.
All right. So mentorship or mastermind or go your own way in business?
I think having people around you. So definitely the mentorship works well. You need to be working with people who can challenge you, ask you questions. I do elements of coaching, mentoring, and then we just get stuff done. So that's where the sort of consultancy side sort of comes into it. But everybody needs people to talk to. It's a very lonely place running your own business. And collaboration means that you always come up with ideas, you bounce ideas around, you will come up with the right answer more often with a group of you than you will on your own.
Definitely. I tried that on my own. It's not fun. No. Yeah, and I refer back to my hair. It's genetic as well, but it keeps me in good stead. I think Emma's watching. Hi, Emma. So Emma's part of the networking group. I think we're doing Business Clinic 4 now.
Excellent.
Is that right? Am I right about that? Are you doing Business Clinic, Paul?
Am I doing Business Clinic?
Yeah, for this networking group.
I am. Unfortunately, I'm miles with it.
Knowledge.
I've been asked to do sort of the business group for the first session, and then seconds after I said yes, realised I'm double booked. So I will probably now do the week after that. And
this is live. I can't even edit this out, Paul.
That's fine.
Let's move on quickly. Who's your most influential person, past or present?
Most influential person. For me, in recent times, it's been a combination of various authors. So, say Michael Gerber, Matthew Side, and probably Daniel Priestley, the people who have been particularly influential from a business perspective. We both know Robin Waite. He had a huge impact from the Fearless program, helping me sort of commercialize the front end of my business. It's something I'd never done in corporate life. So he was hugely influential. And then a couple of other people, sort of Paul Holbrook and Martin Croft, the people who have been particularly sort of helpful in my world, along with a chap called Gordon Petrie as well, who's been kind of like mentors, guides, partners in business as well at various times. Cool. So these are the people who keep me on the straight and narrow.
Brilliant. So why did you get into, like how and why did you get into kind of this business consultancy? What drove you to want to really do that? You might have answered it already a bit, but
that's all right. I found, so as I was director of investment for the local authority, and my job was helping to run the inward investment service for the Department for International Trade, as well as linking all of the business engagement in Swindon and North Wiltshire. And I was finding that I was spending more and more time getting to know the businesses. And I brought very much a sort of a private sector approach to how we engage. So obviously, from a public sector point of view, it's just tick boxes. And I found that the more I knew about the business, the more I was getting inside the business and helping to solve a few problems, the more engagement I got and better results we're getting. And as a result, I think in my first year in post, we had 10 times the throughput than my predecessor had done in 9 years because of a very different switch to the way we approach the business. And again, it was that sort of shifting in terms of what's the outcome? What do we need to do to make that happen? And once that started to happen, what happened then was that the DIT then opened the doors to all these other services, and it just made the job much more easy, much more interesting. And I'd found that with a very broad range of skills across all sorts of things in business, there were very few problems I wasn't able to sort of get involved with and start to help businesses be a bit more strategic and solve problems. And the more I did it, the more I loved it. And the engineer in me that I solve problems, I want to fix things, just came through. And the more I did it, the more I loved it. And the buzz from helping people. And that was the switch. I had opportunity to take a lot of the clients I was working with me when I started the business. And the more I got involved with the local authorities, particularly through Gloucestershire and Oxfordshire, where I was giving my time back, and the buzz from helping somebody, sending somebody that you've just met who thought their business was on its knees, back out into the world, buzzing with excitement because we've just changed the way they were thinking about the business, showed them a few things they had missed, and shown them they have the capability, that excitement, that positivity when they walk back out the door. It's like, you don't even need to pay me for that. That's just something that I love that feeling. And just want to do more of it.
Brilliant. I love it. And I love the engineering mind. I think, it's a good mind to have because you ask the right questions, I guess, to solve, fix problems, really.
Yeah, it's about perspective as well. So I often joke that I don't bring any magic. It's all about perspective and experience. There's quite a lot of insights. There's a lot of stuff that I will see because I've done a lot of the roles and I've been involved in sort of lots of things that I can start to see some of the challenges, the things that are going on. When you're so close to it, you can't see it.
Yeah.
So that I'm able to sort of see things relatively quickly, but get inside businesses relatively quickly to be able to go, right, so are you seeing this going on? Is this going on? People looking and going, how could you possibly know that? We've known you for what, top 10 minutes? Yeah. Some of these things are consistent. But yes, you're right. It is, there's the analytical part of it is very much the process that we drive, the accountability. Once we've designed what an outcome is going to look like in the business, what do you need to do to make it true, turns into a project management process of here are the actions, here's the processes, and it's just then drive that to completion. So it becomes very engineering focused. Yeah. The bit that I do up front and the team are involved in is that initial evaluation of what do you want? What do you want this to look like? Where do you want it to go? What's your personal outcome? What are you designing your business to give you? That can be quite a fluffy process, and that's the bit that's feels very unengineering for me. But it's that let's make this business give you what you designed, what you hoped for. And it's amazing how many business owners I work with where we kind of do this exercise and that dawning realization that the business as it stands today is never, ever going to give you that cash cow, that sort of that freedom, that sort of amazing lifestyle that you want, because it's not designed to do that. And then when we start to sort of show that that it is possible, it can be quite emotive. We've had tears. We had sort of people who sort of just crushed that their business is not going to get them where they were going to get to. They may have grown their business to 1, 2, 3, 4 million pounds over a number of years, and suddenly they get overwhelmed. They've designed the business with them at the heart of everything. It just gets too big. They can't spin all the plates, and suddenly they're in their own mind. They're going, "I'm now a failure. Hang on, everything worked previously. Why is it suddenly not working anymore? What's changed? Why am I no good at this anymore?" And it's never about them. It's always just the business has just got beyond their capability, and it's working then how we step them back out of the way. And that becomes then a arm around the shoulder. Here's the sort of the stuff that's going on. Let's work out how we've changed this. Now we'll do the engineering bit, which is a list of things we're going to put in place, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and we're going to make this happen. So we go from being very sort of fluffy and light and sort of gentle, arm around the shoulder. We can make this work. Okay, what do we want from it? Into hard nose engineering. Let's get stuff done.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the balance of the two works well.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, and obviously you kind of touched on it a little bit there. So you said you've probably helped well over 400 businesses now. So when you're speaking to various business leaders, and obviously in your bio, you're helping maybe the ones that are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, like you just said there. What is the most common thing that seems to come up? I know you just kind of said, they built it, they don't know what to do now. But is that the most common one, or is there something else where people are in business and they just got to point? What's the most common thing you hear?
It depends. The most common is by far away is the overwhelm.
Yeah.
But the problem is with most business owners, there's a lot of pride involved. So actually admitting that suddenly they need help is not something that most business owners are prepared to do. We tend to work with those people who have got the mindset of, I haven't got all the answers. I might need some help. That makes life much, much easier for us to help them with. We work with business owners that they want to grow the business, but they don't know how to change what they're doing. But most of all, it's those people who's saying, I don't even have time for this conversation. I'm too busy doing stuff, but it's not working. That's one of the most common. Or we didn't think there was a different way. So it's amazing how often we did something recently where two business owners working all hours just to try and stand still, and it wasn't working. And we just stopped them, got them both to sit down and talk to each other in a way that they rarely ever stopped because they were just so busy. And they said, well, we haven't got time for this because we've got this, and this, and this to do, and this takes half the day, and this. And we said, right, how about one day a week you don't do that? And give us the time back, and we'll just sit and go through. 3 or 4 hours, we just mapped out so many things that each of them could stop doing themselves, start to trust their team, and hand some stuff over. And it was great fun when when charging one of the business owners, so I said, look, the stuff here that you need to sort of hand over, you're holding stuff back. It's like you're afraid to. No, that never happens. That never happens. That. And actually, it was their business partner who was fantastic. They were in the room, kind of went, "Oh yes, you do." And suddenly we had this honesty thing going on between the business owners, and it was great because all we just sort of sat back and watched them and said, "Right, okay, we've just established that both of you are holding on to things that you personally have enjoyed. You've grown that part of the business. It's now time for you to step out of your own way." You've got a capable team that you've built. You are not handing over. And this isn't about their capability. This is about your own mindset of letting go and showing you actually the value that you bring to your organization is not the stuff that goes on today. It's the how do we plan tomorrow? It's the value you bring, seeing opportunities, seeing the risks, setting the processes, and then trusting the team to deliver it because you've defined the processes. So there's quite a lot of work up front to make sure we map them properly so that you can hand over those jobs. But yeah, that's kind of one of those consistent things that most people do not believe there's any way of changing what they're doing because they've tried everything. Yeah. And they're just so busy and so overwhelmed. And normally within an hour, we've kind of gone, what about this? What about if you did this instead? Who else have you got in the team that could do that? And the simplest one sometimes is to say, okay, show me where you're doing some admin. Let me find you a virtual assistant who'll take 2 hours of your time off you per week. It might cost you, I don't know, anywhere from sort of £50 to £75 or something similar. And then give me those 2 hours. And I guarantee you in those 2 hours, we will identify things that will take another 4 or 5 hours off your time for next week. And we just keep that process going. It's that first little chink of the let's stop. And the big first step is stopping and saying, I need help. Because most business owners are too proud or too busy to stop and say, I need help, but also where do I get help from?
Do you know what? I think that relates to a lot of things, even outside business, to be honest with you. But I'm smiling because I'm thinking about my own journey and when I was handing stuff over, but it was like I still hold on to it. So they're they go take it. So oops, have this toy. Okay, Matt, you can let go of it though, because we're both onto it at the moment. So it isn't easy, but when you find let it go, it's and even then it's like that. I was allowing the phone call. Matt, how do we do this? Matt, how do we do this? Okay, I answer the phone call. Okay. No, look, now you do it. You sort it. Matt, no, ask Michelle. Relief.
Well, most business owners equate handing over various tasks that they've been personally responsible for in the business as letting go.
Yeah.
Losing control.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, what we show people is actually if you put the right kind of control mechanisms in place that sets the expectations, you monitor it, you do quality assurance to make sure things can't go wrong. Actually, you have much greater visibility of what's going on in your own organization because you're now touching the metrics in your business that mean you have a very clear understanding of what's really happening.
Yeah.
And actually, you have the freedom because you're no longer the one having to do it. And it's always easier from my perspective to step back and look at what you're doing than it is for me to come and have to do it for you.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I don't think we see things when we're in the middle of something anyway. We all need someone else to, even if we're in a bit of a, say this in an argument, sometimes someone else from the outside will see it differently. Because when we're in it, we can become quite single track, single track mind really on something, can't we? So
you do. You make decisions out of immediacy. You have 10-second window to make a decision because you've got to jump on something, and you're making tactical decisions. You're not making strategic decisions. And even just 10 minutes, stop, go away, think about it. The chances are you'll make a different decision because you'll see the other things that could be true.
Yeah.
And we'll do it. I have coaches, I have people around me who hold me accountable because I'm just as guilty. We all do it. It's a human trait.
Yeah, no, I think we always need a coach, definitely, or mentor of some kind that's taking us to that next level. Okay, so it's just moving on. So what has been, say, your biggest challenge within this role of consultancy or growing your own business or anything really, but how did you also overcome it?
I've had numerous ones. So I was doing lots of capital project stuff when I first set up. We voted to leave Europe, and all of the funding that went with a lot of those big projects just almost overnight disappeared. And maybe something realized I then had to sort of really focus on what does the business do. And I kind of moved from sort of the big project stuff into much more helping businesses. And then that quickly dawning realization that I'd never done the commercial, selling, marketing, advertising part of business. Everything I've done was working with existing customers, building relationships, then doing the engineering right the way to the other end of the process. And that's where I met Robin Waite years ago, who helped me see how to do a lot of that, sort of be really clear about what you're doing. Stop selling time for money, sell outcomes. What's the impact of working with us? And that completely transformed how I spoke about the business. Be really clear about what I offered. Stop sort of trying to bring a whole bag of all the things I'd ever done in business as part of my marketing tools. Basically say we do growth and overwhelm. We help businesses to grow, and we help overwhelmed business owners get out of their own way and ultimately grow the organization, make more money, increase the revenue, more profitable, and set up and specifically deliver the personal outcome that the business owner has designed the business to deliver them. Whether that's a boat in Monaco Harbour, whether that's just a quiet life working 1 or 2 days a week, we can design that and work out what does the business need to look like on that day. The biggest challenge most recently was about a year or so ago. So I work very closely. I'm part of the Growth Hub delivery team for Oxfordshire. So I was asked to be the business response for Oxfordshire when COVID first hit. And then I've been rolled into the Growth Hub delivery team, and I'm one of the specialists that sits around the peer-to-peer program that Oxford has run for the last couple of years. Because I was the most, should we say, business-focused of all of the panel of 20 experts around a cohort of 150 businesses, there were lots of sort of very, very eminent people, sort of professors and lords and all sorts of very, very sort of talented coaches and consultants on there. I was the one who had the most commercial experience. So I got something like 40% of all of the one-to-ones that were done for that cohort. And that dawning realization that suddenly I had 25 multi-million pound organizations all wanting my help in a very short space of time. I kind of went glug. I was already sort of drowning, and that realization I have to do something different. So I actually got one of my now associates, showed her how my process works, this right to left thinking, design the outcome, then work backwards and say, so what do you have to do to make that work to me? And I kind of knew in the back of my head what that really meant, but actually putting myself through that process forced me to go, and I can't do it. I don't have enough hours in the day. I cannot charge enough money per day to make this work. The only way I can get my personal outcome is to take on people who work as part of the brand. Apologies, you can hear that they're building a new pub across the road. So we've gone from the hammering that started us to now drilling in the background. So I've kind of trying to set up how we deliver for all these clients with all these associates as part of the team, while still running the business, finding clients, delivering for clients, and planning all the things. It's been a real challenge. It's taken a lot longer, particularly because it was obviously done through sort of COVID at times, to get to the point where we're now live. We've got clients starting to come through, and I'm now getting to the mindset of they're no longer my clients. I still do the front end sort of triage and part of the process, but I'm now taking on going, it may not be me doing it. In fact, it almost certainly won't be me doing it. Here are some experts who may even do this better than I can do this. And as well as sort of some Me Too, some sort of project leads, we've also then got all of these sort of the associate skill sets that, so as when we design the business outcome, there'll be bits of your business that work fine. There'll be some bits where you need some specific help, and they're the bits we call people in, whether it's learning and training, it's development, whether it's a quality system, whether it's engineering, process improvement. We've got people that can then come and fix those things in your business and help you get there.
So basically, it's like you're a big toolbox with all the different things that are in there that you need.
Yeah, but it's different. There's lots of coaching methodologies out there. We've all heard things like sort of action coach, which is a very sort of linear process. This is very much a design an outcome and then say what must be true on that day.
Yeah.
So the game we play is you're sat in your business in 5 years time, let's say, one Sunday afternoon, sat with the family around you, beer in your hand or glass of Prosecco, whatever your favourite tipple is, going, cannot believe what we have been through in the last 5 years. The business could not have gone better if we tried. And we're now sitting here with everything we've ever hoped for. What does that look like? Now, most people can come up with a number. So I thought that we want to sell the business. Okay, we have to work out what we have to do to sell the business. Some people, it's what do I want to earn per year? How many days a week do I want to work? And the methodology then is saying, okay, so somebody wants to earn at that point £100,000 a year, and their business is turning over 30% net profit, and they only want to work a couple of days at that point. So if they're not in every day, that means there must be a team of people who do the job, which means you need to design the team, you need to design the processes. If you want to take £100,000 out of the business every year, then a 30% net profit, the business needs to be operating at somewhere between £300,000 and £400,000 a year. You've now got a team, so that's as overhead. So you actually get to the point where you probably need to have the business running at about £500,000 a year revenue at 30% net profit to give you the ability for you to take that money out and only be in the business 2 days a week. So then we say, okay, so £500,000 worth of revenue, how many of the things, the services and things that you sell today would you need to do at that scale? How many customers would you need? Does that work? If you're going to 5 times the size of your business, are you going to add 5 times as many people into your staff? Well, that adds massive overhead. That doesn't work. So you have to start working out, how can I make more money without adding lots and lots of people? So can I change the way that my business operates? Can I go into subscription models? Can I find a higher value product? Can I look at efficiencies? And we start to look at what must be true on that day. We do a full business review, completely design the business. And suddenly this becomes a roadmap. It's no longer this wish list of, I hope we're going to get more clients, we're going to get busier, and if I work harder, I'll get there. Because that never happens, unless you're really lucky. So what we do is say, we're here today. We're going to plot what does success look like at that point in time. That's an exponential curve. And we then map all the things that must happen from that date backwards. It makes it logical and structured and focused because you're now working towards an outcome. What you stop doing is the running around all these other things because you're now focusing towards something actually tangible.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So in terms of mindset for yourself, you kind of touched on it anyway, that you know, it was books, audio. What would you say was your biggest aha moment?
That actually came last year. So I've been working with a coach, sort of around some mindset, called Martin Croft, who's been a great friend for the last few years. I actually met him through the First Biz program. And he sort of teaches and guides around a thing called the 3 principles, with this idea that how you feel is the thought that's in your head, not necessarily the thing that you are looking at. So it's called the inside out process. And he, for a long sort of time, kept saying, Paul, you keep getting in your own way. And he's quite right. And the first time I met him, he did a sort of presentation where he sort of showed a picture of him. Said, right, I'm Martin. I'm going to introduce myself. Here's a photograph of me walking the dog. Dog's not very well. Had to go to the vet this morning. Anyway, grandchildren, nativity play, just give you a feel for who I am. He's right, I've just lied to you. Dog's fine. Didn't go to the vets. Dog's not about to die. They're not my grandchildren. I literally just pulled them off the internet 10 minutes ago. So walk me through the emotions. I showed you a picture of the dog and you went, oh. I told you the dog was about to die and you all went, oh. I showed you a picture of my grandchildren at the intensive play and you all went, oh. And then I told you I'd lied to you and you all went, and in the real world, not a single thing has changed. Yet you've just been through a roller coaster of emotions. It's all in here. You're feeling your thoughts. And I sat there and I go, I'm an engineer. I understand cause and effect. What have you just done to my head? So I went through his program last year and it was profound. It was transformational. And essentially it's the idea that you stop. You step back from every thought and basically say, can I see this a different way? Is there another thought? Is there a different way to see what's happening? And we all do it. We all do it at different times. It's the same effect as you're in the shower, you're not concentrating. Suddenly those light bulbs go off in your head. They're the insights, and that's what this does. Is it's the pause. You stop. Can I see a different way to solve this problem? And it's essentially what I'm doing with businesses, which is let's pause. Step back, give yourself space and time to think strategically about the business. You'll see a different outcome. It was the same thing. So there was a couple of moments, particularly when we did the 3-day intensive, where light bulbs for me just went off, and it's been transformational for me in terms of being calm, stepping out of the overwhelm, and starting to see clarity in the way that the business can grow and the things I need to do, and let other people help me. Because I'm the world's worst for kind of going, I can do this. I'm invincible.
Yeah, we all do that though, don't we?
So it's massively improved my mindset. Certainly helped me manage the overwhelm, but it's also allowed me to not react to things quite the same way. When times when we all find ourselves in sort of slightly difficult situations, learning to go, actually, what's going on here isn't about me. This is about the other person or the other situation or the other company we're dealing with. Actually, it's what's going on with them that's causing this situation. It's not about how I feel. Let's stop. Let's see what's really going on. And it's been invaluable.
It kind of reminds me of the old lady, young lady. You got the young lady looking over her shoulder and you've seen that one? The image with the same thing, or was it just a blob of ink? Whatever we want it to be, right?
Yeah,
it's just a drawing. So I love stuff like that because we do all see the world differently, and I think there's a solution to every problem. Because when people say, you touched on it earlier, that a lot of people might say, I've tried everything, I can't. No, you haven't.
Yeah,
you haven't, because and something I've said this a few on a podcast, and it's a few years back when on a previous mentorship that I had, and they were talking about this sort of stuff, and he said his mentor had said to him, well, have you found a solution to everything? Have you looked? Yeah, I've looked. I said, well, what's 1 + 1? And he knew immediately this is going to be like a trick question. He's like, 2, but he said, is it always going to be 2? And he's like, because when you put 2 puddles together, they become 1.
Yeah,
1 + 1 isn't always going to equal 2, and that's something simple, like a little bit like what you just said. It's something simple like that. It changed the way I thought, and it's something as simple as That's why I like to ask people, what was your aha moment?
Well, something simple, because I'll quite often work with a company, and one of the things I ask them about is sort of, what's your net operating profit right now? What's the percentage? And they'll go, oh yeah, it's not great. We're making profit, but we're only about sort of 2 or 3%, and it takes a bit of sort of getting it out of them. And so, okay, at which point, I know you are giving away money. You are losing money with probably half of your clients, because the industry standard for your industry is probably around 20%. If you're operating at 5%, you're giving 15% away. Oh, we wouldn't do that. And we go through the numbers and suddenly see that that's exactly what's happening. They're not costing properly. They're not charging enough money, or they're over delivering on time. And they're not controlling that in place. And we go, right, so step one, we switch off all the clients that are costing you money. Can't do that. That's half of everything we do. Okay, but if you did that today, you would actually make more money because you're losing money with those clients. You get half your week back, and we cure overnight. You have more money and more time. The two things you said you've tried everything to solve. I'm just showing you how to do it.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, we can't do that. I said, okay, so we have a second option. We're now going to go back to every one of those clients and say, we can't afford to work with you as we've grown. We are now no longer the perfect solution for you guys. We are either have to going to say, really sorry, thank you very much, and part ways, or we can move you up to our next level of package, at which point we know we're now in a profitable state. And it's amazing how many people, or how few people, when we do that, say no thank you and walk away. So overnight, we suddenly move an entire organization from being just breaking even into everybody that they're working with now making clear profit at a control rate.
Yeah.
And the person sitting there just goes, how could I have not seen this? Because you are so close to it and you are just working hard to try and solve problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes, something simple.
I think it's that fear of, I've been there, you're going to lose this one person, and you're going to lose £800 for the year or whatever it would be, or the month, and it's costing this much.
Yes. And one of the sort of biggest steps, particularly for an overwhelmed business owner, is to say, okay, at some point, somebody else needs to run the company, not you. So at some point, you need a number two. You need somebody that you can rely on to be you in the company when you are not there. Because your job is to go and land that multi-million-pound contract. Your job is not to worry about whether Dave turned up for work this morning. That's no longer your job. And we all do it. We all get so close into those details. And then it's well, I can't afford to hire somebody because that person's going to cost me 50 grand, 60 grand a year. So, okay, what if I gave you that £50,000? Well, what do you mean? So what if I gave you, write your check right now for £50,000 so you can go and hire the person that can run your company for you? Well, that would be amazing because then I could get on and do this, and this, and I can go and sort that out. I went, just listen. The only thing stopping you going and doing those things is having that person in place and that £50,000. So if your business plan was sufficiently sound, you could borrow that £50,000 tomorrow. If that's the only thing stopping you, we've now got a process, this right to left thinking, which is design the outcome. So we've now done the whole model of what you need to make this true. You can demonstrate to lenders that you understand what growth is going to do to your business and who you have around you to support you, who've been through that experience, who will understand what the cash flow issues are going to be as you sort of double or treble the size of your company, understand logistics, the warehousing, commercial rates, all the stuff that's going to go into the business at that stage. If you can demonstrate in your business model, the business plan to a lender, they're more likely to go, yeah, that sounds like a brilliant plan. Because not only are you going to make money out of it, you understand the processes and hassles and challenges that you'll have doing it, and you've already thought about it. And lenders and brokers love that. And that's why I now work very closely with a whole range of brokers who bring me businesses now saying, I want to lend them money because it's a brilliant idea, but they're not business ready. Can you help them get business ready? Can you do what you do with them? And sometimes it's as simple as that. It's like just giving somebody the confidence that actually that one brave step. Because if that had been a machine, if there was a contract that said you now have to produce 200 a day, and your machine today can only do 100 today, on the back of that order, you commit to buying a new piece of equipment. you'd fine 50 grand, or you'd put that on some kind of payback scheme because it's a piece of kit. And in your head, that's a tangible asset. What we also talk about is that people in your business are tangible assets. Putting that GM in that business will pay for itself, him or herself, within a year, without question, and allow the owner to step back, pause, and make all the right decisions for the business because they're not so lost in the business. But it's just been brave.
Brilliant. Some really good content today, Paul. Some great tips, and I think anyone that's watching or listening, there's a lot of really good food for thought. I guess wherever they are at on their business journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the process we just talked about doesn't matter. Yes, I'm an engineer, and a huge of the businesses that we work with are manufacturing, technology, engineering, innovation companies. The process works regardless of the industry. So I've done hypnobirthing, we've done ice cream manufacturing, we've done finance, we've done energy, pet food, digital stuff, printing, just been asked to do some stuff with a film studio. The latest one was chiropractic treatment for horses, for race horses. So the process is the same regardless of the business. If it's something that I've done in the background or I've done in the past, then I can get more and more involved from the operational side of things as well. But in reality, the principles of running the business are the things that most business owners have never been trained to do.
Oh, 100% agree with that. 100%. Because we know our trade, right? So whatever that's going to be. But yeah, that was my biggest learning. Everything you've said, it was right now I'm running this thing. So, I ought to find out about marketing. That's a bit scary and everything else. So it was putting all these hats on and then slowly being able to remove the hats once I was in that position to say, and I like what you said there is like, just, if you've got it in place, you can get a lender. And now you've got the person that can run those things. So it's, it's really good tips there, Paul. Much appreciated. Go on.
I'd say it's been a sort of pleasure. Obviously, we've sort of met through the first program a few years ago, and it's been a pleasure sort of watching your journey. And obviously, we've been having some conversations about sort of your next phase. And again, it's that same thing of sort of having somebody outside of what you do day to day, just you can bounce ideas off. So it's been sort of great fun, sort of just being on the periphery of your new venture, and hopefully collaborating with you guys going forwards.
Definitely this time next year, Rodney. I got to go and change the tire on my yellow van.
Yeah.
No, but for me, I've learned so much, and I'm glad you brought up Robin because such a fantastic coach, and it that put me in I think I needed that at the time. Like you said, that it's the same whatever your industry like and how you structure and process this. And I had some really great martial arts business coaches at the time, and but I had to go stateside for it, so it was really my time to come back. And actually, what Robin was giving, I was paying like nearly treble for over in the States.
Don't tell him.
I already have. I said, Robin, this is nuts. And someone would be there like, oh, I don't know. I was like, shut up. Like, this is good stuff. You know what I mean? This will change your life. This will change your business or anything else. Hi, Kelly. How you doing? So, yeah, I think, sorry, if you're just about to sign up to Robin, you got a bargain.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you got a bargain there. So, and actually the knock-on effect of that, obviously we've connected several times. We've passed each other over onto different people, so we've connected with other stuff. We've got Kelly there now, and even just from that group, this is so weird. I gotta say it. It's going to go off subject a bit, but a guy called me one day, Chris Smith from Robin's group, and he thought I was the mindset coach for Robin, or within the thing.
Yeah.
He had some stuff he wanted to talk about, and then he realized afterwards that I wasn't that person. But because I helped him, he then we connected, and he dropped me in a group like a year later, and it's put me on. And just by doing that going in that group just put me on. All right, this is quite cool in here, and it changed my whole network basically. So yeah, it's just, I think it's great when you can connect upon different things, whether it be through networking or mentorship. But I think it's the coaching that you give, and be able to see the business from that different angle, and 100% agree, from doing the business buying and listening to people and seeing, then going in to dive deep. Oh my God, like I know how I can turn this around. I have cultural problems where you're trying to work with the staff. It's like, no. they start panicking. So it's like, oh, damn it, I haven't built that relationship up with them enough yet, like I have with my current staff. So yeah, it's just really interesting that, what you've been saying today, and to, you can, obviously pass on to another. My brain's just gone now. That's it.
So I was delighted when Robin agreed to become one of my associates.
I know, you told me that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So if it comes sort of full circle, it's nice to have his experience, and we'll use him for sort of some of the executive coaching sort of going forward. And it's been quite nice that I think every single person I've asked to be involved with the associate model are people I've worked with, the people I trust, who very much have a client first mentality. And every single person I've asked has said, yes, I'd love to. And it has been really humbling to sort of have all these people. So it's not me sort of sitting here going, look at this huge team I'm responsible for, because actually it feels like a collective. The people I trust, the people I've worked with, and they're far better at their jobs than I could ever be.
Yeah.
But their skills are things that our clients desperately need as part of it. And it's just making sure we can sort of signpost the right people in the right places. So it's been sort of great fun.
But I think that's really important, because it's like you're putting the right team or right person in. Like I see a lot of mentors, and I can do everything, I can help you with everything, but I don't think that's necessarily true, because I think I'm good at marketing, but I'm not a marketing expert. I think I'm good with social media, but I know there's better social media experts. I'm good at mindset, but there's better mindset coaches as well. So every method, I don't think, like, same with everything. Some methods, a lot of things are just like, it's that, and no matter what you're doing, it's that. I feel, but other things is like,
Yeah.
Sometimes you need the right person, right, for that thing.
Absolutely. So, Oxfordshire used me as the primary diagnostic tool to go and find out what's going on with the business. The thing that most business owners say is wrong with their business almost never is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a symptom of something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they learned the hard way that there are a couple of businesses that were £20 million businesses in Oxfordshire, and the business owner was sort of struggling with something and said it's all about finance, and they put them with a finance expert. And it quickly became apparent that the finance was going wrong because they weren't keeping hold of the way they were managing their logistics. People, their whole culture was wrong. There was a whole catalogue of things that were actually going wrong with the business, and all that was happening was that their profit was starting to dwindle, and they thought they could fix that by just looking at the numbers and just looking at the finances. We sat down and just took the business apart, and as a result of it, identified at least 5 separate programs of work that we needed to do to the business before we even started to look at the profitability side of things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, it's that I've got quite a deep knowledge of lots of things. I'm not an expert in almost any of them, but I'm better than average. It means that I can get quite a long way into every part of it and go, this is what's really going wrong. Actually, the thing that's really missing here is you are trying to do marketing, but you have no strategy. You don't know who you're talking to. Go and find a marketing strategist, somebody who's going to really shape and hone what it is you're trying to deliver. And then, once you've got a strategy, give that to a marketing company, because they'll create a plan to deliver against your strategy. Otherwise, all that's happening is they're just firing off into the sky and hoping for the best. It's just that taking a step back and saying, actually, these are the experts that you need in your team.
But I think that's where your engineering brain is so powerful for what they're doing, because on a machinery or whatever now that's, that is things pieced together, it's not necessarily one person that's put that together. There's an expert for that piece of machinery, right? So, but as you said, the diagnostic, the doctor really a doctor isn't going to do the surgery on you. It's like, I diagnose this problem. So I think there you go. You should be Dr. Holmes.
Yeah. Yes, it's the GP of the business world.
It is though, isn't it? It's like you're the expert, and what's the problem? This is okay. Well, now I got it. Actually, this is diagnostic. This is what you need to do, and I'll put you forward to this consultant. So there we go. Dr. Paul Holmes, excuse me, Dr. Paul Holmes, mic drop. But Paul, we're gonna have to finish that. Just before we finish, because there's probably loads we can talk about.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get in touch?
Best way to touch is to either give me a call. So it's 0771 500 8521, or Paul at, actually the new one is PCH-consultants.co.uk. So that's right. That's the new email. So there's a new website, new branding that is literally being rolled out as we speak. So it's probably the last time we get to sort of use this publicly, the new logo, the new branding. So it's www.pch-consultants.co.uk or Paul at pch-consultants.co.uk. I'll find me on LinkedIn, and I'll happy to have an initial conversation with anybody free of charge, do a bit of a discovery to find out what's going on in your business and see whether the process that we apply works for you. The vast majority of things we do tend to be from the sort of the £1 million upwards, because that's the point where a business has got the experience and also the capability to actually, for us to have real impact. But a huge amount of businesses it's about mindset. Are you ready to fix your business? Are you ready to ask for help? Then we'll work with anybody.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Same too, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. So thank you for those that have dropped some comments in, Emma and Kelly. And of course, if you've got any questions on the rerun, drop them in. Paul will jump on it, because I'm just delegating that to him. So delegate stuff.
Thank you. No worries at all.
That's how my life works. I'm back next week. Peace and love, everybody. Always. Bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.